Or carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Plenty of elite star power for tonight's Elite Eight women's doubleheader on ESPN starting at 7 Eastern. LSU plays Iowa. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. ESPN's Andrea Carter with a game plan for Reese.
1, she has to stay out of foul trouble. And 2, she has to have an aggressive mindset on the offensive end. Relentless on the rebounds, strong with her post moves, and playing through contact.
Andrea Carter, the second game, USC against UConn, Juju Watkins and Paige Beckers. The Trojans haven't been to a Final Four since 1986. The NFL pays bonuses to players who outperform their contracts. Former Ravens offensive lineman John Simpson gets the biggest payout for last season, almost $1 million, nearly doubling his pay. Simpson has signed a 2-year, $18 million deal with the Jets. Former Lions corner Cameron Sutton out of jail on his own recognizance after turning himself into police in Florida Sunday. Sutton faces a misdemeanor battery charge in a domestic violence case.
Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. That's Barbasol Shaving Cream, an American classic for over 100 years. Close Shave America, Close Shave Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Lock loaded, ton to do. Hope you had a great Easter weekend with you and your family. We're pumped to be back. Of course, it is LSU-Iowa, Elite Eight rematch of the national championship game. Jeff Linder covers the Hawkeyes. He'll be here in 15 minutes from right now. Steffi Sorensen from the SEC Network will be here next hour. David Dellucci in hour number 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
We are going to talk a ton of LSU Iowa today because, look, it's the biggest story in college sports today and one of the biggest stories nationally. It's on the header at ESPN.com, and it involves a local team, and it's the rematch that every women's basketball fan has salivated over. And it is a game that casual observers can't help but be drawn to. So naturally, we are going to talk a lot about this game. But one thing is undeniably true, that this game tonight, the teams will look dramatically different than they did even a year ago. Jasmine Carson was LSU's leading scorer that night. You remember Jasmine Carson, right?
Carson fades away for 3.
Oh!
She banked it in!
Oh!
Carson falling away, banked it in! She can't miss!
Patrick Wright, not exactly accurate. She did miss once the entire game. Jasmine Carson had 22 points and led LSU that night. It was Alexis Morris with 21 points, who was the second leading scorer. She's gone. LaDasia Williams with 20 points was LSU's third leading scorer in that game. She's gone. So LSU going to look dramatically different. You've obviously added 3 big-name players with Michaela Williams, the 5-star freshman, Haley Van Lith, the Louisville transfer, Anissa Morrow from DePaul. And maybe the biggest difference in this ball game from a year ago is the fact that Monica Zanano, the forward from Iowa no longer there. So Angel Reese in the post tonight should have a dramatic advantage over Iowa in this ballgame. So we'll see how it all plays out. LSU is a slight 1.5-point underdog in this ballgame. ESPN Stats and Info has it a 50-50 virtual dead heat. I've seen a lot of sharps that believe the wrong team is favored in this ballgame tonight, that actually, because of Angel Reese's perceived advantage over Hannah Stolke, the forward from the 6'2 forward from Iowa, that LSU should be favored in this ballgame tonight. Flaugier, who's been awesome in the postseason, averaging 14 a night on the season, 14 against Rice, 21 against Middle Tennessee, 24 against UCLA, playing her best, and she'll draw the assignment on Caitlin Clark. So we'll see how it goes. We'll talk plenty about it throughout the show today. Our show open, of course, is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana. Great time to remind you about the champs. And you can still find the Women's Basketball National Championship bottles. I was actually at an event in Tiger Stadium last Thursday, speaking at a gathering there, and our friends at Mockler supplied the booze, the beer. So, and there were these championship bottles, which you can still find. Of course, we have proudly had the National Championship bottle, the National Championship koozie here on set with us ever since those bottles were released. You can still find them at great local retailers. So grab them and drink easy with the champs when you're watching the LSU women against Iowa tonight with the great taste of Bud Light. Drink easy with the official beer of the LSU Tigers, Bud Light. LSU baseball, we're again in about 10 minutes from right now, we're going to head up to Albany. Jeff Linder covers the Iowa Hawkeyes for the Cedar Rapids Gazette. He'll be with us to give us a preview of Iowa. But let me take a moment here and kind of recap the LSU baseball weekend as the Tigers are swept at Arkansas. And, I've kind of been asked ever since Saturday, is the season slipping away from LSU? And I'm not so sure I would go there. But certain goals are slipping away when you're 2-7 in the league. If your goal is to win the SEC championship, like that goal is slipping away realistically at 2-7 right now. Your goal of being a national seed, the benchmark that we always talk about, if you're 20-10 in the conference, you're a virtual lock to be a national seed. Well, you could only lose 3 games the rest of the way with 7 weekends to play in the conference. That feels a bit unrealistic. Regional host, that is teetering, right? So some of those goals are slipping away, but the season itself isn't. And one of the things that we knew, and again, it's hard to see the forest through the trees. When you're going through the fire, it's hard to pull back to the 10,000-foot view and look at the entirety of the season. But we knew this was a team that was going to lead with pitching and defense. The offense was going to take time to come along, and we knew the first half of conference play was going to be brutal, and it was going to lighten up later. Just think of how different you would feel right now. And again, you can't change results. They are what they are. You're 2-7. But think about how different you would feel if you had closed Game 2 against Florida and won that series and taken one of the 3 against Arkansas. And by the way, you had a chance to win all 3 of the games. I'm not saying to sweep the series. I just mean in any of the 3 games, you had an opportunity to win each of those games. None of them got away from you. How different do you feel today at 4-5 as opposed to 2-7? But that's the reality you face. The positive spin is you were on the road against the number 1 team in the country, and you were close in all 3 games. You didn't get run or outclassed in any of them. You had a chance to win all 3 games. Now, you didn't. And so how do you fix that? How do you get to where you finish? That's kind of the impetus right now for Jay Johnson and this coaching staff. A few observations. I told you last week I hated pitching off, and I don't know if it was the right decision or the wrong decision to keep Luke Holman and Gage Jump in their same Friday, Saturday roles. But you went into Thursday, and you went with a whole staff approach against the best pitcher in college baseball. And the reason I hated it was because of what transpired. You had a lead against Hagen Smith in the 4th inning. You were up 2-1. You got him out of there after 6 in a 3-2 ball game. You drove his pitch count up. You did what few had been able to do. But you have a veteran team, and you have good hitters. And you went back-to-back homers with White and Travinsky. And you scored 4 runs on 9 hits. And I can't help but think that this entire season, in every start that Luke Holman had made up until this point, only Mississippi State had scored more than 3 runs. What if you had gotten a similar performance from Holman followed by Herring, and Herring was awesome in game 2, by the way. But what if you gone Holman Herring just like you did against Florida, and you put a stranglehold on that Arkansas offense, which had struggled. They're 13th in the league in team batting average. It's not a great Arkansas offense. They're coming along. Aloy's playing better. Getting Stovall back has helped them at the top of the order. He was really good this weekend as well. But the point is, you can't help but wonder what if. And you're going through this whole staff approach, and you're in a 3-2 game in the 7th, and you put Cam Johnson out there. And he walks a batter, and then he walks in a run. And that's been Cam Johnson's issues, has been command in those types of situations. And you had a shot. You had a shot, but you effectively waved the white flag and conceded game 1, and I hate doing that. Game 2 became a must, and you lost it in 10 innings. You had the bases loaded in the 3rd with 1 out. Stravinsky strikes out. Now, Pearson comes through with a 2 RBI hit, but it could have been more. In the 6th inning, you had the bases loaded with nobody out. You pinch hit Larson right there. He gets the line drive to left to get a run home, but then, Milam grounds to second base, and Braswell has a brain fart. Braswell's at first, and he runs right into a double play. I mean, hold up. Have a little awareness. Keep the inning going. And then you lose in the 10th, and, Thatcher Hurd gets the L, but that wasn't Thatcher Hurd's fault. Thatcher Hurd strikes out the first batter. Second batter gets a tapper to short. It goes under Braswell's glove. Braswell cleans that fields that cleanly. You got 2 out, nobody on, nobody's touched him. Even if you give up the double after that, okay, you got a runner on second now with 2 out. Go get the runner at the plate, or the batter at the plate, and you're out of the inning. You go to the 11th. It's just tough to swallow. The game 3, you led 4-1, and you let it get away. With Jump Ackenhausen, the 2 best arms you had available, and they couldn't hold your lead. So it's disappointing, man. And Jay Johnson's got a decision to make. Do you take the lumps with the young players, or do you rely on veteran players that have been there for you? Do you find some combination, which he's trying to find right now? He's struggling to find guys at the top of the lineup that can get on base to be table setters for his run producers. Look, in game 3 on Saturday, he moved Tommy White to the leadoff spot. White leads off the game with a homer, and then proceeds to hit into 3 double plays after that. So there aren't any easy answers right now, but Jay knows his team, and he's got to find out the right combo. I mean, he loves Ethan Fry. Well, Ethan Fry this week was 1 of 8 with 5 strikeouts. Look, if Fry's going to DH, that means Stravinsky's got to catch. If Stravinsky catches, that means Neil Milazzo aren't in the lineup. Well, how do you justify that when Stravinsky has a weekend like he did this weekend, and Milazzo, or I guess I should say games 2 and 3, and Fry goes 1 of 8 with 5 strikeouts? Milazzo's a guy that's been there for you on the big stage. Do you get him in there? He's a contact hitter. He's got a .459 on base percentage. He's hitting .333. Get that kid in the lineup. DH Stravinsky. Get some more veteran presence in there. If you want one sort of silver lining, one reason for hope, it's the path Tennessee followed the last 2 years. 2 years ago, Tennessee had the best regular season any of us had ever seen. Of course, we know they lost their super regional. They lose a ton of guys from that team. They start last year 5-10 in league play. 5-10. They finished SEC play 16-14. So it's entirely possible. Now, look, they were 16-14. They went on the road, won the Columbia Regional, went to the Hattiesburg Super Regional, won it, and went to Omaha. And then LSU eliminated them, as we know. But the possibility is there. It's a long season. You play it out. LSU's got tons of talent, and they just got to keep plugging away. Not telling you it's fun right now. It's not. To be 2-7 in conference play, having lost 3 consecutive weekends, that sucks. But it's the reality LSU faces right now. They got to dig themselves out of it. They got a great chance this weekend against Vanderbilt. You could somehow find a way to win a weekend against Vanderbilt, go on the road, get a game against Tennessee. You're at right where Tennessee was a year ago. You're 5-10 in league play at the halfway point. See what you could do as the schedule gets easier. But they got tons of work to do and a lot of soul searching to do within that roster as well to find out who the winners are going to be that are going to help them finish games, because they've been close. They just haven't been able to get it done. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll head up to Albany. Jeff Linder covers the Iowa Hawkeyes. He'll tell us what you need to know next on AFR.
AFR.
Man, yesterday was Easter, and I love telling you about Rouse's Crawfish, and our family had Rouse's Crawfish for Easter. My dad went by Rouse's, picked up a whole bunch of a bowl of crawfish, brought it home after church, and The family enjoyed it. They did a great job, man. One of the things I tell you about Rouse's crawfish is when you go to Rouse's, every sack of crawfish, every bagged and tagged bag of boiled crawfish you get at Rouse's, they're all boiled in-house. It's not like it's boiled somewhere else and brought in. Go to the website. You'll see the Hot from the Pot logo right there. Just tap it, and you'll get all the info you need about Rouse's crawfish. They're all boiled every day, fresh, in-house at Rouse's. They also have live crawfish, but you can get the Hot from the Pot, the hot boiled crawfish there every single day at Rouse's at any of their locations. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, whether it's boiled crawfish, other great boiled seafood, or so many other things. If you're there to make groceries, you could get it at Rouse's. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's. This feels like home.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, Windows, Doors, Siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
I just think they shoot the 3-ball. They rebound so well. They're just an excellent basketball team. And so, it's going to take a complete game by us, but they are, they're pretty balanced. You got 5 people averaging in double figures. That's really hard to guard when you have that kind of balance. And so they have great experience at all their spots. There's just not a lot of weaknesses there.
That's Iowa coach Lisa Bluter with LSU and Iowa, the rematch from the national championship game. How accurate? Certainly it's a rematch. It's the same programs, but dramatically different teams. How much have the Hawkeyes changed from the matchup a year ago? Let's find out. Jeff Linder joins us from the Cedar Rapids Gazette. He's on Twitter at JT Linder if you want to give him a follow. Jeff, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. So let's start there. How different are these Hawkeyes from the team that LSU saw in the championship game a year ago?
Well, they don't have the post presence in the half court that they had last year with Monica Cisnano. But they're faster. They're probably more athletic than they were last year. In Hannah Stolke, they've got a post that can really get up and down the floor in a hurry. Yeah, I would say they're very athletic. They might be a little better defensively than they were last year. But that's kind of how I see it.
You know, one of the things that I guess that the conversation pieces around here a lot, Jeff, have been in that game a year ago, Caitlin Clark got hers. Of course, she scored 30, but the shooting percentage was low, and she only got 8 assists.
Yeah.
How much was that a product of that game, or have we really seen Caitlin Clark's game sort of evolve this year to get the rest of her teammates more involved?
Well, her game's gotten better. She's more efficient. She's more she's just more polished this year. I think part of the reason that she was kind of held in check last year was the fact that she was in foul trouble. She got, if you remember, she got her 3rd and 4th there in a hurry with a technical foul for the delay of game and call, which has now been revised. So, that played a factor. It wasn't the reason that LSU won the game. LSU won the game last year because they were the better team.
Well, and when you have Jasmine Carson, who literally doesn't miss a 3-pointer in the first half, that played a really big role when you get 22 from a bench player that you might not have been expecting. That's part of the challenge as well. So when you look at how Iowa might approach the game defensively against LSU, I know you mentioned obviously Zanano not being there, and so it would feel like there's a post advantage for LSU with Reese and Morrow. How does Iowa defend that or counter that?
Oh boy, to be honest, I'm not sure they can. Reese and Morrow are going to be a load inside. I think Iowa's got to hope that they get one or both of them in foul trouble, and maybe hope that if nothing else, they just outscore them. I think obviously they've got an advantage. LSU's got an advantage at the 4 or the 5, maybe both. But I think it's a deal where Clark's going to have to really go off, and there's going to have to be an X factor involved with Iowa. I don't see them winning unless they score 85 plus.
Jeff Linder's with the Cedar Rapids Gazette, covers Iowa women's basketball. Hey Jeff, what's the buzz? I should have led with this. What's the buzz been like there in Albany? Fan distribution, just the general interest there at Ground Zero.
Well, I think it's going to be a pro-Iowa crowd. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I saw something I got some email from, I don't know if it's Vivid Seats or SeatGeek or one of those agencies that said that 64% of the seats were claimed by Iowa fans. So it's going to be a pro-Iowa crowd. It was last year in Dallas. They travel well, and it's a phenomenon, and it's not just an Iowa phenomenon. You guys have it down there. What was it? 9.9 million was the average TV attendance, and I even though it's not on quote unquote network TV, I think it's going to eclipse that tonight.
Oh, really?
I think so. Unless is The Bachelor or something like that on that's going to carve into that a little bit. I don't know what viewing there is at 6 o'clock our time.
It's interesting you say that, Jeff, because look, we can X and O this game every which way, but there is the whole component of last year's game and what it did, the sort of the explosive growth that it created, even momentarily for women's college basketball. The question is, can they sustain that use that sort of push, right, to sustain the growth? What's been your read on this LSU-Iowa dynamic and how it's perceived?
It's through the roof. From an Iowa perspective, I think they considered Angels versus not Angel Reese, but Angels versus Villains game, because that's kind of how LSU is perceived up there. But boy, and I wrote about this, and our columnist wrote about this, after speaking with and listening to the LSU people, we found them nothing but delightful. They've been great. They've been very gracious. And but I don't know. I think Iowa fans are hopeful for a win tonight, but I think if there's optimism, it's cautious at best.
Yeah, the narrative is interesting and how things grow nationally. The LSU girls have been a delight to cover in their time here.
Yeah, and I absolutely can see why.
Jeff, if you go back to the game itself tonight, what do you think? We all know Caitlin Clark is amazing, and she's going to get hers, right? But what is the X factor? Like if you wake up tomorrow morning and Iowa wins the game and they advance to the Final Four, what's the lead in your column?
Well, I think the lead is that Iowa's got quote unquote revenge and is going to the Final Four for the second year in a row. But if they win, I don't know. I think if Iowa wins, something probably will have gone wrong for LSU. Whether it's foul trouble, not shooting well, not defending the other, quote unquote supporting cast well enough. I think if LSU brings its A game and Iowa brings its A game, I think LSU wins the game.
It's interesting. Iowa's a slight favorite, point and a half, depending on where you place your bets. But the dynamic of LSU in the post might be the thing that does kind of tip it toward LSU. We'll see how it goes. Jeff Linder there, Cedar Rapids Gazette. He's up in Albany covering the Elite Eight, and someone's going to punch their ticket to the women's Final Four. Jeff, can't thank you enough for a couple of minutes, man. Thanks so much for the time.
Okay, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. It's interesting to hear him say if LSU loses, or if Iowa wins, something went wrong for LSU, and I can't help but say, and I'm going to be totally transparent with you. I haven't seen Iowa play a dozen times. I haven't seen Iowa play 5 times this year. I've caught some, obviously, of Caitlin Clark because she's must-see TV when she's on. And when the scoring record conversation was happening, it was hard to miss some of the stuff. And then, obviously, now with the tournament. But I can't tell you start to finish. I've sat down and watched an entire Iowa women's basketball game all year. So I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that I have this great handle on the game. In reading a lot of what the sharps have to say about this game, and I don't mean to bring everything back to sports betting, but it's interesting to me when you can remove emotion from something to see what the odds makers say. It feels like the line is set where it is because you have a lot of Iowa backing because of Caitlin Clark. That's why you see Iowa as its slight favorite. The sharps, the professional bettors, seem to be on LSU because just of what we just said. Iowa doesn't really seem to have anyone that can handle Reese and Morrow in the post. So I look at it and say, if LSU is going to win this game tonight, it's in large part going to be because Angel Reese and Anissa Morrow win the day for LSU. And then I want to see how Flaugier does defensively against Caitlin Clark. Because as we mentioned, Caitlin Clark, 22 field goal attempts in the game a year ago, 19 of them were threes. Alexis Morris was awesome. She ran Caitlin Clark all around the perimeter last year, and did, even though Caitlin Clark had 30 points, she attempted 19 threes. I think she was 8 of 19 from 3 in that game. So she hit 8 threes, but she missed 11 of them. And if you have that many empty possessions against an LSU team that's going to score, it's going to be tough because you're going to end up digging yourself a hole. So, and obviously Jasmine Carson was awesome last year. It was such an underlying theme of that game when Jasmine just couldn't miss in the first half coming off the bench. But I really think that's your difference tonight. It's if you look up and Angel Reese has a 20-10 type night, 24-12, and Anissa Morrow scores 18, goes for 18 and 9, I think LSU wins the game. And I think that's a pretty plausible scenario that it could play out that way. Now, you could see Caitlin Clark go off for 38 and not miss, and Iowa wins. But that's why it's going to be fun to watch because you do have contrasting styles in this game tonight. Okay, we're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. I got a text earlier today from the president of our company, Flynn Foster, who said he sent it to me and several other people on our staff. He said, I'm not sure who all deals with Shaw Bills. So my son took his truck there on Friday, had new tires put on a trailer today. Service was incredible. said Wade on Burbank. Seen Wade a ton when I go by the Burbank Shawbills. Wade on Burbank took care of us both times. And Martin lined it all up. First class. They do everything great. Another hat tip to our friends over at Shawbills. I know I say it all the time, but they're going to sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. And that's the reason people go in, right? Because you're going to get the best price, the best tires for the cheapest price. But it's the service that's going to keep you coming back year after year after year because they treat you like family. And it doesn't matter if you are the president of our company here at Guarantee or, yeah, I've told you this. My sister-in-law had a leak in her tire. They repaired the tire for free just because that's what they do. That's just, as Mr. Charlie said when they opened shop more than 50 years ago, it's just the right thing to do. It's Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. All right, y'all, it's after further review. We'll get sort of the bigger national picture. I want to get the Iowa perspective. We'll get sort of a bigger picture perspective on tonight's ball game in 30 minutes. Steffi Sorensen from the SEC Network is going to join us. We'll kind of handicap this game a little bit more, not handicap from a betting perspective, just kind of break down this game a little bit more in the matchups to keep an eye on. Luch will be with us in hour 3, as he is every Monday, talk a little SEC baseball, so we're looking forward to that. Glad you're here. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Saints have announced where they are moving their training camp. We'll talk about that a smidge and recap the weekend that was in the Southeastern Conference. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Spring is here, y'all. Ain't no denying it anymore. We got up to 87 degrees on Easter Sunday, and as I sit here right now on this Monday, April the 1st, it is 84 degrees in Baton Rouge. Spring is here. The last of the cold snaps have gone. Knock on Formica, and it is time to get in your yard and just plant something. Get on by Clegg's Nursery. I'll remind you, of course, they've got the Aeon mosquito barrier. If you want to pick that up over at Clegg's Nursery, you can. Easy, tell you about it all the time. Just pop the top off the tube. Fill it up with water, shake it, top back on, hang it on your property line. You're done with mosquitoes. It's at Clegg's Nursery. Full greenhouses. Love to tell you about Clegg's and their great selection. They just expanded the greenhouse at the Segan location and everything you need from gardening tools, mulch, soil, bag, bulk. They got it. Johnny Naylor seeds. What more could you possibly want, y'all? Spring is here. It's time to get in your yard and just plant something, and Clegg's can help. Buy local, shop local, Clegg's Nursery.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
So we found that the Saints are going to move training camp this year to Irvine, to Cal Irvine, home of the Anteaters. Did you know that, Muse, that Irvine was the Anteaters?
I've heard of them before, yeah.
I've heard of those guys before.
I've heard of them.
Oh, man, those Anteaters.
How about them?
I'll tell you what.
They found out. It's okay.
They found out?
They found out.
Not going to lie. They had me nervous. They had me scared. Not going to lie to you.
Yeah, 8th inning on that game, too.
Yeah,
it was tight. It was tight.
The 2008 Super Regional, for those who are wondering what we're talking about. The last game at the old box. Monday was fun, though.
That was a blast.
Oh, that was fun being there for that
8 home runs, something like that?
Yeah. Wasn't it like
7 or 8?
Three in the first inning?
3 in a row in the first inning.
Yeah, that was it. They went back to back to back. Anyway, that was Irvine. So the Saints are going to have camp at Irvine, and we found out why. It's because they're renovating the cafeteria. They're ongoing renovation of the weight room and now beginning a renovation of the cafeteria there at the Saints training facility in Metairie. So they wouldn't be able to have camp there because you need some place to feed all your people. And apparently, and this was several weeks back that this came out after the season, the NFL Players Association does a report card every year where the players rank their team for a variety of things. Do you remember we talked about this with Dennis Allen? Because Dennis Allen was like the third or fourth. He was the fourth lowest ranked head coach by the players, and the 3 below him all were fired. So he was the lowest rated coach that kept his job effectively. Well, part of that survey is also things like facilities, like your waiting room and your cafeteria. Well, the New Orleans Saints received an F- on the Players Association report card for their food services and nutrition. I mean, how in the world do the New Orleans Saints get an F- on food services and nutrition? I mean, you go to New Orleans, and one of the first things, what's the first thing you think of when you think of New Orleans?
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras, Bourbon Street. The Saints.
Yeah.
But not far down the list. You're going to get the food.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're going Commander's Palace. Mm-hmm. We're going Drago's. Mm-hmm. We're going Giacomo's, Acme, Brennan's. I mean, Central Grocery. The original Muffaletta. You know what I mean?
Good.
It's... people will say there's 3 great food cities in America. New York, New Orleans, San Francisco. And by the way, San Francisco was massively disappointing as a food city. I was excited to go and explore as an adult person with some disposable income to really explore the food in San Francisco. Very disappointing. Now, Napa, food in Napa is amazing. In San Francisco, maybe just the places we went, a little disappointing. I digress. But you go and you think, my goodness, it's New Orleans. It's Emerald. It's Emerald.
Take some green onions and you go bam!
Bam! Corner Two Sisters, Muse.
Yeah?
Go get a whole salmon fillet for breakfast. How in the world does New Orleans have an F- food grade? But this isn't the Jazz that I wanted. I know this is Jazz, but I was thinking more like a peppy Jazz brunch, you know?
It says Jazz brunch. That's what it says.
Maybe you type in New Orleans Jazz brunch.
Okay.
That might be a better one to try to get to. I mean, this is like New Orleans being, an F- on food services. I mean, is that as shocking as seeing a golf cart at Augusta?
That'd be pretty surprising.
I mean, would you be more shocked to see I don't know, like Adele as a Laker girl, or the New Orleans Saints getting an F- for food services?
Yeah, I'll go with Adele.
Or who's the girl that the British girl that's a little heavy set was in the movie that they filmed at LSU Pitch Perfect? You know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Australian.
Rebel Wilson.
Rebel Wilson as
She's
a Laker girl.
hysterical.
That's not a joke, though. I mean, like for real.
Yeah.
You show up and look, no disrespect. I think she lost some weight.
She
too.
did.
No, for real though. But
So
you
did
understand
Adele.
my point. Did she? Oh, good
Yeah,
for her.
Adele was good.
I heard Hello this weekend. Just randomly on shuffle.
It's a good one.
And I sat there and listened to the whole thing. I thought of Jimmy Chest-Hair, by the way.
Yeah.
We did the limp sync thing years ago. For those that don't remember, Jimmy Chest-Hair, James Harrelson, a.k.a. Jimmy Chest-Hair, was a producer here for a long time. And we did a video promoting the Bracket Challenge one year, incidentally, where we all lip sync songs. And Jimmy Chest-Hair stole the show by lip syncing Adele, Hello. It was great. I take that back. Cade Wassan stole the show. He lip sang to Fancy. It was really good. You know,
By Iggy Azalea?
so
Fancy.
yeah, it was really good. And Cade made it rain. You understand?
Yeah, I get
You see
it. Yeah,
Cade pop up from behind a booth at walk-ons. He's making it rain. And he's lip syncing to Fancy.
Yeah, that's good.
You
I mean,
get
I
the
like.
comp.
Yeah, I
You
get.
get the
I picture it. It's hilarious.
Anyway, do better, Saints. Apparently they are.
Yeah.
They're heading toward having a world-class facility. I just don't know how it ever got to that point. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here on this Monday edition. Hope you had a great weekend. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. It's so interesting. We're at my parents' house yesterday for Easter, and like our whole family all have Volkswagens now. We drove in Erica's Atlas. My mom has an Atlas. My dad has a Tiguan. My godparents were there. They drive an Atlas now. So there were like 6 Volkswagens out front. You thought it was the home of the people that owned the Volkswagen dealership, but it wasn't. It was our home because we're all believers in the Volkswagen line. Test drive one and you'll understand why. South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Airline just north of Highland or online at southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? We don't have time for a full-on around the SEC. Just real quickly, Muse, you could jump here. Anything that stands out here? Let's run through the SEC baseball weekend series results. We know LSU got swept by Arkansas. Vandy, after being swept by South Carolina, bounces back and sweeps Missouri. Texas A&M also sweeps Auburn. Auburn's fallen hard. Bama with a 2-1 series win over South Carolina. Florida, Jack Caggs walked it off to get the series win over Mississippi State 2-1. Tennessee, in a really hard-fought series, beats Georgia 2-1, and Kentucky swept Ole Miss 3-0 on the weekend. Anything stand out there to you?
2 things. Number one, Kentucky. They're matching Arkansas game for game right now, 8-1, and doing it on the road and at home. They scored 30-plus runs in that road series. And Florida, Mississippi State outscored them on the weekend, and Florida just battled and won yet another weekend. Florida kind of reminds me a little bit of LSU early last year. You could see deficiencies, but it doesn't matter. They just keep winning weekends.
It's a great illustration of how thin the margin is.
Mm-hmm.
And LSU, to this point, at 2-7, has been on the wrong side of those outcomes. Florida is winning those close games. So I know nobody's going to be super pumped about LSU being 2-7 in the league, and I'm not saying you should be. But you can look and you can see there's talent. You can see there's arms and there's depth. They're just not connecting the dots right now. And it's going to get easier. The schedule is going to lighten up, and some of those results will start to fall in your favor. It's just a matter of how deep of a hole do you dig yourself before you can start to get out of it. Hopefully it's this weekend. Look, the thing that gives me hope this weekend is we saw Vanderbilt last week go to South Carolina and get swept. So that they got swept, then they come back and they sweep maybe the worst team in the conference. So this feels like a winnable, a gettable weekend for LSU. I'll be interested in.
What's that?
Does Jay pitch off this weekend? Because you want to keep guys on the same day, Muse. Because the rest and all the rest and the stuff, right? That's why you did it. It had nothing to do with Hagen Smith. We want to keep them on their day and right? No, that was why, right? That's what Jay said.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Coaches don't lie, do they, Muse?
No, never.
So I'm gonna see Muse. I'll be interested to see what they do this week.
Yeah.
I
think you know what they're gonna do, but yeah.
I don't know. He's gonna keep on the same day, Muse. Is that what they're gonna do? Or is he gonna throw Luke Coleman on Thursday?
Yeah, I think.
What do you think's gonna happen, Muse?
I think he's gonna throw Luke Coleman on Thursday, but
You know how many people last week on the text line, everything. May you call Jay Johnson a liar? Yes, actually I am, because coaches lie. That's what they do. And I'm not saying he made the wrong decision. My feeling forever and ever and ever when it comes to baseball strategy has always been, if you have a logical explanation for your decision, you can live with the result, because it is a game of percentages and averages. So if you have a reason for doing what you're doing, a sound reason, I can live with the result. And I understand what Jay was doing. Just don't lie to me about it. Just don't lie to me, bro. Tell me you don't want to blow your best guy because you're facing the best pitcher in college baseball. Okay, I'm good with it. I get what you're doing. It didn't work, but I get it. You can live with the result. Okay, it's after further review. I'm sure Muse has tons of thoughts on that. Listen to Muso at the Box to get all of those thoughts on YouTube or podcast.
Yeah, both.
Wherever you get your podcast.
Anywhere you get your podcast, absolutely.
Or on YouTube.
Yes.
There's a Muso at the Box YouTube channel.
Subscribe. Hit the bell.
Subscribe and hit the bell to Muso at the Box. I wonder if Muse agrees with me in this podcast.
On what? On the pitch off thing?
Pitching off thing.
I didn't mind it. I mean, I liked it. Because like I said, I understood. Like, I get it. I mean, you had a chance to win all three regardless. You didn't. So
you can get those thoughts at Muso at the Box.
You can. You should.
You should. Okay, the Saints have signed a place kicker. We'll talk about him next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Told y'all yesterday, 87 degrees, y'all. Today, right now, it's 84 degrees at 3:46 in the afternoon. If you have issues with your home central AC, call River City's 1 Hour Air. How about this one from Stephanie Smith, a 5-star Google review? Thank you to Cody at River City's 1 Hour Air for always taking care of our AC unit. Cody's very knowledgeable, friendly. I appreciate him. Another 5-star Google review for River City's 1 Hour Air. Remember, y'all, it is time. Preseason AC tune-up. Before we get to triple-digit temps every single day, make sure your AC is tuned up, clean, and efficient for the coming warm weather. Don't let a little issue today become a very big, very expensive issue in July. Call River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
New Orleans Saints have added a place kicker. His name's Charlie Smith, or maybe it's Smythe. He's from Northern Ireland, S-M-Y-T-H. Kalen Kaler from The Athletic had it first. So Charlie Smythe is part of the International Pathway Program, the NFL, and being from Northern Ireland, he's been a goalkeeper. He's only been kicking an NFL football since August. So less than a year of kicking an NFL football, but 22 years old. So young guy, and in some videos that we've seen published on social media, he's already making 60-yard field goals. And I mean, high enough, long enough, plenty of leg if you're checking out these videos. So dude's got the leg. There's no debating or disputing that. It's really just a matter of can you do it in games when it counts? We'll find out. And by the way, the International Pathway Program is interesting. This isn't the first time the Saints have signed someone as part of this program. If you remember, and I remember this because we had this guy on the show back in 2017, Alex Jenkins was a defensive lineman from England who signed with the Saints as part of the International Pathway Program. He's like an edge rusher back in 2017. Now, the interesting thing about that program as well is you can have these players on your roster, and they don't count against your 53. So you can have a guy like Charlie Smith or Smythe on the roster and grow him, develop him, and he's not going to count against your 53-man roster. So it's a good opportunity to grow the game internationally. A couple of things. The Saints and I have no idea if this kid's going to be able to kick effectively in game situations. We'll see. I mean, he's been kicking a football, an NFL football, since August. But clearly has the physical ability and the desire, so we'll see how it goes. But the Saints, you're always going to have multiple specialists in camp. The Saints and every team have that. But I'll remind you, last year you had Headley and Groupie that won your specialist jobs over incumbents, Gillikin and Lutz. And if you want to take it back even further, Blake Gillikin was a guy that they took a flyer on out of Penn State and ultimately won the job from Thomas Morstead, who was your incumbent for a decade. So the Saints go into these into camps with specialist jobs and competitions open to be won. I mean, you went from Morstead to Gillikin and then Gillikin to Headley. And last year, I mean, you had made Will Lutz what you felt like and hoped would be your franchise kicker for a decade. And he was injured, came back off the injury, had a disappointing season, and then lost his job. So Blake Groupie won the job last year, and we talked about it throughout the season, but the Saints picked wrong. Like, they were wrong with Headley and Groupie. They picked wrong. Lutz went on and had a really good season in Denver, and Blake Groupie was one of the worst place kickers in the NFL. That's not to say he'll never get it together, but there were chunks of the season last year, after the Chicago game, notably, where Groupie was at about 78%. Like, being under 80% in the NFL in 2023, now 2024, is criminal. Like, it's just completely unacceptable. And Groupie finished the season at 81.1%. Of qualifying kickers, only two in the NFL had a lower field goal percentage than Blake Groupie. Matt Gay was at 80.5, and Greg Joseph was at 80%. Those are the only two that had a lower field goal percentage than Blake Groupie. Now, if you've got a long history of being an amazing kicker like Justin Tucker in Baltimore, who was middle of the pack in the NFL last year, but is the most accurate kicker in the history of the NFL, you can have a wobble year and you're going to get some grace. When you're Blake Groupie, you don't get a grace period. Like, I'm genuinely surprised they didn't cut him last year. I mean, he cost you the Green Bay game. He doinked one against Chicago in the fourth quarter that would have given you a 2-score lead. And he only made 81% of his kicks for the entire season. So any specialist, any kicker the Saints bring into camp this year, I'm taking it seriously. Because I don't know how, if you're Blake Grupe or anyone associated with the Saints, you can just go into this year assuming lock, stock, barrel, Blake Grupe's your guy. He just flatly did not perform well enough to have any semblance of job security. So I don't know that it's Charlie Smith or Smythe as part of the International Pathway Program, or you're going to bring in a veteran or a rookie free agent. But you got to bring in competition for Blake Grupe, because there's nothing he did a year ago that should make you feel confident that he's your guy this year or moving forward at all. And it would be really cool to have an Irish kicker. I bet he could drink everybody under the table. Let's go, Charlie. Get it done. Okay, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah, they do indoor shutters as well. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Nobody does it better. All right, LSU and Iowa tonight. Winner goes to the Final Four. Steffi Sorensen from the SEC Network, women's college basketball analyst. She's going to join us right after SportsCenter. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Y'all, if you have mold, think you might have mold. Maybe you got odor. Home, commercial building, from pets, or sweat like it's a gym, or like a mixed martial arts facility. I took Taekwondo when I was a kid. When I close my eyes, I can still smell the sweat that was just baked into the carpet there in the dojo. They could use Pure Restoration. Had a great time doing it, by the way. That was awesome. Pure-restoration.com. It's simple. They'll come in, they'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's so easy too. Like, the fog machines are like their Sprinter vans are enabled. So basically, it's all connected. They just pull the van up, they grab the tubing, they walk in, and then boom, they'll spray. Because it's a fog, it'll get into every nook and cranny. It'll kill all of those harmful pathogens. And as soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in free and clear. It's effective, it's efficient, it's affordable. It's Pure Restoration.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off the new 23 Ram 1500 SCA truck. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $22,500 off the new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Iowa and LSU tip off an Elite Eight women's doubleheader on ESPN at 7 Eastern. The Hawkeyes are a 1.5-point favorite on ESPN Bet. What would this win mean for Caitlin Clark? ESPN's Chiney Agwumike.
That would be a huge resume booster because everyone sees Iowa as the 1 seed, but really, in my opinion, they are the underdog. So if she's able to pull off this upset, the legend continues to grow. The only thing that she's missing is a national championship.
Chiney Agwumike on Get Up. In the second game tonight, UConn, a 3.5-point favorite over the 1 seed, USC. ESPN has learned Virginia Tech point guard Georgia Amore enters the transfer portal. That news just a week after Coach Kenny Brooks left Blacksburg for the Kentucky job. Coaching news in the men's game. Andy Enfield is the new hire at SMU. He coached USC for 11 years. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the 76ers should have Joel Embiid back on the floor this week, perhaps even tomorrow night.
Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. That's Barbasol Shaving Cream, an American classic for over 100 years. Close Shave America. Close Shave Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Our buddy David Dellucci, 1 hour from right now. Lucha will talk some SEC baseball with us. We are 2 hours away from tip. LSU and Iowa in the Elite Eight. Rematch of last year's national championship game. Glad to have Steffi Sorensen join us right now. Of course, SEC Network, you see our women's basketball analyst good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here to talk about the game. Steffi, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
Well, I don't know about y'all, but I got snacks. I'm making tacos tonight. There's the Super Bowl going on at 7 o'clock. Got family coming over. I mean, you can't ask for more in our game to get this rematch. It's a shame that it's not going to be in the Final Four, but we're going to throw down. I cannot wait for the game tonight.
If you said we couldn't ask for more, that's the one thing we could have asked for, is if this game were in the Final Four. I've been asking everybody, I'd love your thoughts on what do you think are the most glaring or obvious differences in the two teams from the game a year ago?
I think that point guard position for LSU, Alexis Morris, she was such a gamer. I mean, y'all remember what she did in that national championship game and the Final Four and the 3-ball. Most people forgot about what Jasmine Carson and Kateri Poole did in that final. Was they were able to hit the 3-ball so well, and LSU just doesn't. Their point guard play. It's kind of been Poa and it's kind of been Haley this year. It's kind of it hasn't been as steady as it was last year with Alexis Morris, who was a true PG. Had spent 5 years with Kim. And for Caitlin Clark in Iowa, I think that, her and Monica Cesano had played together for 4 or 5 years. And it was Caitlin to Monica, and the teammates all kind of had their roles, and it's much more just Caitlin's team and Hannah Stolke's coming along, but it's not the same as it was with her and Monica out there. It was significantly different, but I think when Caitlin's on and her teammates are on, Iowa's scary good, and the difference I think this year is just in terms of LSU. Gosh, the paint play. I mean, Angel and Anissa Morrow, I mean, they are that 1-2 punch. There's some differences, and I'm just kind of curious what will be the X factor in this game, because the 3-ball for LSU was a huge one in the championship, and it hasn't been LSU's calling card this year. And maybe there's going to be some threes tonight from LSU. We'll see.
I'm glad you brought up Alexis Morris there as well. And she drew the assignment of Caitlin Clark last year, and it sounds like that's going to be Flau'jae tonight. How does Flau'jae match up?
It's a great question. Most people forget too. Poa took 2 charges on Caitlin Clark last year, and that got her in foul trouble. So if Poa comes in, I would just keep an eye on her, because I think that she could maybe slide in there and get some charges, because that changed Iowa for a second there when they picked up the fouls. And sorry, my nephew, I live next door to my sister. She's got 5 kids, and one of them's down to run out.
I love it. Wait. So real quick, is your nephew a Gator? Is your nephew, like everyone's got an allegiance? Where's your nephew's allegiance or your sister's allegiance?
Look, we're raising Gators here, man. We're raising Gators in this cul-de-sac.
That's so disappointing.
He was asleep on. I know, not what you wanted to hear, but if they decide elsewhere as they get older, that's fine with me. But Matt, I mean, Flau'jae to me has been one of the most fun players in all of college basketball. I know that everybody has talked about the stars, and Caitlin deserves the flowers. Yeah, Flau'jae's been playing out of her mind, and I think drawing this Caitlin Clark assignment, she just got to stay level. You know what I mean? Like if Caitlin starts off hot, sometimes I think that can mess with Flau'jae just a little bit. With she takes so much pride in being able to slow someone down that if she's not, it can affect her offense. But I think she's kind of gotten over that hump. I haven't seen that in the tournament so far. And man, like if she doesn't play the way that she did in their last game, I don't think that LSU is playing Iowa tonight. So there's a lot falling on her right now.
And Steffi Sorensen's our guest, SEC Network. Is what we've seen from Flau'jae offensively the last couple of games, is it sustainable, or does this matchup lend to another big offensive night for Flau'jae?
It's been sustainable. I've seen it since Greenville when I was there with the network covering the whole tournament, and she was just. I think something has clicked for her. I don't know. There's that sophomore slump when you're trying to figure out what makes me really good in this league, because at that point, a freshman, she was kind of behind Angel, and Alexis could do her thing. Not a lot of pressure. And then everybody, your sophomore year, they're like, okay, we know what you want to do. We're going to take this away. You got to figure out all your counters. And for something happened in Greenville. I mean, we saw it. It was spurts throughout the conference, non-conference. But right now, I mean, her confidence is sky high. And I think she's just hitting shots, she's hitting threes. She's playing great defense. And honestly, she's been one of my favorite players this year.
Steffi, what is the key to defending Caitlin Clark?
Has anyone figured that out yet?
Well, it's like she's going to get hers, right? But there's got to be something in there that when you go in the locker room and there's the whiteboard and you're drawing up your goals, like there's got to be something that you say, okay, like last year, she scored 30 in the championship game, but she was 8 of 19 from 3. She only dished out 8 assists. Like, so what is the key to limiting her effectiveness?
Certainly, from the time she gets the ball, y'all have seen her court vision. Right off a rebound. I mean, she'll throw it 50 feet, and find a teammate out in the open in transition. And if they're not open, she'll take a few more dribbles, shoot it from 40 feet. So I think, don't be surprised if Kim, puts the second Caitlin gets the ball, someone's on her. Because I think you got to make her uncomfortable. I thought, what is the team that West Virginia? They just threw tons of bodies at her, made it really physical. took a lot of fouls. LSU doesn't have that because of a shorter bench, but I think they have stars at every position that can guard one-on-one. So maybe force contested twos. Coming off screens, obviously you don't want her to hit those threes. So, go, trail with her on screens and force tough, long twos. Protect the paint, and be there on the catch for threes. But if you can get her hitting 18, 19 contested twos and her earning those points, and then put it on her teammates. Teammates are going to have to step up and hit shots. Last year, there's just a little bit more consistency. This year, there's more newcomers, and they've had to earn Caitlin's trust, which has been a process. But I think picking up 94 feet and just making her uncomfortable, and we'll see what Flage can do. But they're going to probably have to rotate off of her, give her a break, because it's tough, man. I've seen her play in person, and she never stops moving. She never stops moving. That's the crazy part. She never gets tired, and that's what always has impressed me about Caitlin's game.
I got two more for you. Your time very much appreciated. Steffi Sorensen's joining us, SEC Network. If LSU wins the game, whenever we open up, ESPN.com tomorrow and we look at the box score, what do you think is going to be the most important number, column, stat that we look at and say, if that told you the story of the game?
It seems like free throws. Free throws have been, so huge for LSU, but I think that's just their bread and butter. And maybe this is turnovers for sure. They have, when they don't take care of the basketball, this is from watching them in November through all of the season, covering them in the studio and just being like, man, when they're taking care of the basketball and they're sharing it, they're great. When they're turning it over, you're giving the other team possessions, and they don't have a huge deep bench to rotate fresh bodies like you see South Carolina, where Dawn kind of lets them play through mistakes. If not, she can go 9 deep. Mm-hmm. So it's just a different look for LSU this year, but something that might not show up on a box score, but this is just so me watching them in their last game, is shot selection.
Selection? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's funny. My mom has watched them with me like all the time this year, and she's like, man, they keep taking those quick shots and they don't swing it around. I think that's settling. And then, if I was playing zone, you can't have them settling for jump shots. It's not going to be, in the box score, but it's just visually when you're watching the game, if it's 1 pass, 2 pass shot, that's playing into what Iowa wants them to do in the half court. So it's shot selection for me. Don't take the first shot or just a good shot. Pass it around. Iowa does not want to guard for 30 seconds. They can't rebound it with them. So, making and taking great shots is something that I'm going to be watching for tonight at 7.
You have a thought on the other regional final with USC and UConn?
Man. UConn has been a story of perseverance this year with losing as many players. I think it was 4 season-ending injuries, and Gino somehow has them in the Elite Eight. But, man, I don't know if you've been watching Juju Watkins, but she is the real deal. And 6'2", a freshman, handles herself extremely well. I think it could go either way, but USC seems to have a little bit more depth, which we'll see how that's tested, because foul trouble seems to be the name of the game. The officiating, don't even get me started. Don't. It's been rough at times. If there's some bad calls, is that going to hurt? Connecticut of Page picks up 2, whereas Lindsey Gottlieb can go into her bench for Southern Cal a little bit more. Just not to go in another direction, but I was at in my little bracket to start, I was in Raleigh covering NC State. So I had Tennessee and NC State. News out of Tennessee today. NC State goes to the Final Four. That was nuts. I knew they were going to be good, but it just shows you if somebody gets hot and can hit some shots and they come together at the right time, you could make a run. So I think thinking about Paige, I think the emotions behind it, does her team play with her? Can they get to the Final Four? I think that's a story that everyone is looking for. And then can the freshmen put the team on the back and bring USC to the Final Four? lot of storylines, obviously, Matt, for tonight at 7 and 9 with all the stars that we have. And I know that the games will deliver.
And it's taco night as well.
And it's taco night, so ain't nothing wrong.
Tell your nephews that if they want some great food, come down to Baton Rouge. The water is warm in Tiger Country. They're always welcome down here. It's way better than being a Gator. Just let them know. Pass along the message.
I will review that, and I'll discuss it. He's 2, so he's still got some learning to do, but we'll take it under advisement.
I'll let Peter Burns keep the pressure on him up there as well. He'll keep feeding the purple and gold narrative. Steffi Sorensen, great stuff. Thank you so much for the time today.
No problem. Thanks for chatting.
That's our pleasure. Steffi Sorensen from the SEC Network, women's basketball analyst. Really good breakdown. How about when I asked what line in the box score would tell you the story? She said free throws. I would have certainly looked at rebounds, offensive rebounds, because I just think of where I got to go to break. Where LSU has the advantage, it's in the post. It's got it. But to that extent, sure. If Angel goes to the line a dozen times tonight, yeah, I mean that could be where the game swings. It's gonna be fascinating. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. Should the Saints make a trade with the Jets to move up to number 10? It's floating out there. I got some thoughts. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Action Industries, official partner of LSU Athletics. Baseball game at the box tonight. Of course, if you're going to be out at the box and when LSU gets an opposing pitcher in some trouble, manager, skipper, walks out to the mound. Every mound visit brought to you by Action Industries. They've been servicing in Louisiana the petrochemical and refinery market since 1982. Y'all, it's 42 years. 42 years they've been servicing our state. But not only are we talking about servicing the petrochemical refinery markets with the on-site construction, they also offer fabrication shop services. So if it's pipe, structural steel, pressure vessels, not everyone offers pressure vessel fabrication. And when they fabricate, they separate their shops. Alloy and carbon steel, the two sections are segregated. You know why that's so important. It's Action Industries. You can check them out online. They're always active on LinkedIn as well. Official partner of LSU Athletics, Action Industries.
I've been doing business with Luber for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by Service Chevrolet, Lewis Mechanical, and the Lucky Law Firm. Donate today at 1045ESPN.com.
Should the New Orleans Saints trade up to the 10th pick? There's a reason I bring this up today. It's not plucked from the air. There's a report from Rich Cimini of ESPN.com who covers the Jets, which suggests the Jets would like to slide down from 10. Their hope is that one of the teams immediately following them that is coveting a quarterback will be interested in moving up to 10 to nab that quarterback. And by the way, it's the Vikings at 11, the Broncos at 12, and the Raiders at 13. And obviously, Kirk Cousins is no longer with the Vikings. Russell Wilson is no longer with the Broncos. And the Raiders are just a mess. They went from Carr to Garoppolo, and now what are they going to do? Is it Aiden O'Connell? What are they going to do? They need a quarterback. And the only reason, it would be very easy for me just to say, no, stay put. But when we're talking about the Saints and this organization's propensity to trade up in the draft, to be aggressive, you have to consider things like this. And while the Saints wouldn't be a team moving up for a quarterback necessarily, could a situation arise where the Saints are sitting there at 14 because of the expected run on quarterbacks, receivers that we're expecting in the top 10, maybe also Joe Alt, Brock Bowers? There could be a player sitting there at 10 that the Saints really covet, and they're willing to make a move up to get it. So I think we always have to consider what might that look like. So just for context, last year, and this is the closest thing recently that I could find that would resemble a similar trade. In round one, moving up 4 spots outside of the top 10, right? So last year, the Steelers went from 17 up to 14. They moved up 3 spots. And it was in the teens, right? From 17 to 14. What we're talking about would be the Saints going 14 to 10. So the price maybe a little steeper. But the Steelers traded with the Patriots to go from 17 to 14. And so they swapped first-round picks. And the Steelers added number 120 overall, which was a 4th-rounder. So basically, to move up 3 spots, they gave up a 4th-round pick, which that price feels cheap. Now, the Saints don't have a 4th-rounder this year. Remember, they have a 1, a 2, and then they have 4 5th-rounders. No 3, no 4. They have 4 5th-rounders and 2 6th-rounders. So maybe it would take a 5 this year, a future pick, something like that. I don't know. But in that realm, it feels doable, okay? So the price wouldn't be egregious. Now, the report from Cimini is that the Jets want a 2nd-round pick. If someone's going to move up, they want to do the pick swap in round 1 this year and then a 2. I can't tell you that if I'm the Saints, I'm okay with giving up your 2nd-round pick this year or maybe even next year's 2 to move up these 4 spots because of what may be there, but I'll get to that. So again, Rich Cimini is reporting the Jets would like to trade down. They're hoping one of the teams that wants a quarterback bumps up, is willing to go up and take their pick at 10. Now, here's where, when I look at this draft where the opportunity is going to be for the Saints. And this is the reason primarily why I don't want to see them move up. Remember, the scenario that Rich Cimini laid out was a team just after the Jets, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Raiders moving up to 10 to get a quarterback. Well, consider this. Right now, if you look at the odds, Caleb Williams is minus 8,000 to be the first overall pick, so he's going to be off the board. Jaden Daniels is minus 1,500 to go in the top 5. Drake May, minus 1,350 to go in the top 5. Marvin Harrison, minus 750 to go in the top 5. And J.J. McCarthy is minus 270 to go in the top 5. Essentially saying someone's taking him top 5 or someone's trading up to take him top 5. And again, if you're not sure with betting odds, minus 270 means you'd have to bet $270 to win 100. With Jaden Daniels at minus 1,500 means you'd have to bet $1,500 to win 100. So these are overwhelming odds that these are going to be your top 5 picks. Now, we're 4 weeks from the draft. A lot could change. 4 weeks from Thursday, right? A lot could change or 3 weeks, from Thursday. A lot could change between now and then. But it sure looks like the top 4 quarterbacks in this draft are going to be gone before the Jets pick. So is somebody, one of those 3 teams we just mentioned, willing to trade up to 10 to take Bo Nix? You'd have to really love Bo Nix to trade up to get him at 10. And I'm not so sure that scenario is realistic. Like, do you believe there's that big of a difference with Nix and, say, Michael Penix or whoever else might be on the board after round 1? When I look at the Saints at 14, understanding these are most likely going to be your top 5 picks in whatever order. Williams, Daniels, May, Harrison, McCarthy. Okay. After that, we know Malik Neighbors is going to come off the board, Dallas Turner, Joe Alt, Brock Bowers. I mean, you're going to be at 10 picks off the board that are obvious and guys that aren't necessarily in a position of great need for New Orleans. Like, it was so interesting to see Matt Miller over at ESPN.com has a piece up where he gives lists prospects with a first round grade. Understand, there's going to be 32 players taken in round 1. There's going to be 32 first round picks. But what Matt Miller is saying, this NFL draft analyst from ESPN, is that only 18 players in this draft have a first round grade. Meaning there are going to be players taken, there's going to be 14 players taken that don't have a first round grade. So, but if you're picking at 14, you're well within the range of a team, of a player that's going to have a first round grade. So you're going to have value no matter what at 14. And what if someone does take one of the players that's outside of this first round grade range ahead of the Saints? What if someone does take Bo Nix? So I look at it and I go, there's 4 offensive tackles. And given the whiff with Trevor Penning, Ryan Ramchik's injuries, tackle has got to be your number 1 need. I know everyone's said it. I've told you my dream scenario, realistic dream scenario, is Olu Fashanu from Penn State. Well, Matt Miller has Olu Fashanu as the 11th best prospect in this entire draft. And there's a really good chance that guy is on the board just sitting there for you at 14 because of what we just described. Like, it's realistic that you're going to see 4 quarterbacks off the board. And by the way, only 3 quarterbacks, according to Matt Miller, have a first-round grade. He does not have a first-round grade on J.J. McCarthy. But clearly, there are teams that are infatuated with J.J. McCarthy that are going to trade up, and someone is going to take him in round 1. It's just like the betting odds are minus 270 that he goes in the top 5. So, stock rising. The 4 quarterbacks, Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze. That's 7 right there that you assume. Bowers, 8. Joe Alt, 9. Dallas Turner, likely off the board, 10 before the Saints pick. So look at all the positions left. Essentially, every one of the next picks would have to be an offensive tackle for you to feel like you're not getting value there. So could Olu Fashanu be there at 14? Like one of the 3 other big-time offensive tackle prospects in this draft after Joe Alt will be there for New Orleans. Just playing numbers, will be there for New Orleans at 14. If it's Fashanu, who, by the way, is rated as the 11th best prospect in the draft, Fuaga, the offensive tackle from Oregon State, who he's got rated as the 12th best prospect in the draft, or Troy Fautanu from Washington, who he's got rated as the 16th best offensive tackle in the overall prospect in the draft. One of those 3 guys is going to be, just playing the numbers, one of those 3 has got to be on the board for you when you pick at 14. So if you're the Saints, you could be patient and let a player with a first-round grade fall to you at 14. Just be sitting there for you to pick. Or you could get aggressive, move up to 10, ensure you get the player you want at 10, assuming he's still on the board, but also giving up very likely a pick in next year's draft to do that because you don't have a 2 or a 3 this year. So or a 4. Or excuse me, you don't have a 3 or a 4 this year, and you're not likely giving up a 2 to move up right there. So would you give up a 3 next year or something like that? That's kind of the question right now for New Orleans. And when I look at it, it just seems so obvious to me. And forever, I've always defended the Saints' approach of moving up for this reason. I would rather you, as an organization, be bullish on a player and say, that's our guy, we scouted him, we talked to him, we did the medical, we love him, let's go get our guy. I'd rather that than saying, let's pick the best of what's left. And maybe you get lucky and maybe not. And yes, you could point to a lot of years where the Saints move up and they whiff. Marcus Davenport comes to mind. There are those. But I can also point out moving up in round 3 to take Alvin Kamara. I could go back to 2009 when the Saints moved up in round 5 to take a punter, and Thomas Morstead became your punter for the next decade. There are plenty of those examples. Obviously, you moved up to take Chris Olave. If you're bullish on a guy, go get him. And that's generally my thought. I just don't know that I can get on board with it this year because if you're patient, you can maintain and retain all of your draft capital and still have someone with a first-round grade because the run on the positions ahead of you this year are going to be quarterbacks and receivers. And yes, you're in the market for a receiver, but probably not at 14 because even if you just sit there and wait for one in round 2, you're going to pick an awesome receiver in round 2 because of the depth at that position in this year's draft. And you're probably going to get great value. So the Jets are a team that are reportedly looking to move back, and that's within striking range for New Orleans. I just don't know that that's the deal I'd want to see him do this year. Let me know your thoughts. You can always email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. We always appreciate it. Remember, we're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking about buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. They're the best. They've been doing it since 1916. And there's a lot of lenders that can loan you money for land. The difference is with First South Farm Credit, that's all they do. And that's all they've done since 1916 is help Louisianians buy land. So for your specific need, your specific financial situation, and what your goals are, there's nothing they haven't seen in more than 100 years. It's First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Okay, it's after further review. Quick break. Still got a lot of baseball that I want to get to. Luch is with us in 30 minutes from right now. We haven't done it yet, but I do want to react to the LA Times, Washington Post thing, just to be on the record about it. I'll get to that next hour. We got a ton to do. When we come back, though, quick note, LSU basketball picks up a commit over the weekend. The Pels got a big one tonight at home against the Suns. We'll get to it on AFR.
AFR.
power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Pels are back on the floor tonight at home. They got a big one, man. They're welcoming in Phoenix. And look, a lot of the national narrative around the Pelicans is starting to build up. I mean, Kendrick Perkins is one of them who was on SportsCenter. I'm sorry, this was on First Take earlier today, talking about the Pels.
Looking at the Western Conference, outside of the Denver Nuggets, the Clippers been inconsistent. I mean, the Phoenix Suns are inconsistent. The Pelicans have all the pieces, and we're talking about Point Zion right now because he has done a great job of not only making love to the paint, but actually making others around him better. He's in a great place right now mentally. But you know this, Jay, as a former hooper, When your mind is in the right place, you're going to perform at an elite level. And right now, it looks like Zion has corrected and made sure that everything or all the issues that were affecting him off the court are not doing that anymore, and he's corrected that. So I'm looking at this Pelican team and the way Zion has been playing, they definitely could go to the NBA Finals.
How about that? Kendrick Perkins saying the way the Pelicans are playing, they definitely could go to the NBA Finals. And you're starting to hear that more nationally. A week ago, we had our buddy George Sedano was here, who, of course, is an ESPN national NBA analyst. We asked him those questions. So, what do you think would have been more improbable? Like the Heat last year making a run to the finals, or the Pels did it this year. He said the Heat from a year ago. I mean, it's so interesting because, and also to hear Perk say that the Pels check all the boxes. And look, I mean, there's an obvious part of this conversation, which is you've got to get Brandon Ingram back because you're not the same team without Brandon Ingram. That goes without saying. So, yes, if with a healthy Brandon Ingram, we'll see how it goes. But this game tonight against Phoenix is interesting because Phoenix is one of those teams that is, I think we collectively, as we look through a Pelicans lens, we look and say, okay, we're looking ahead. All right, the Pels right now are in the 6. You know, you're tied with Dallas, but they have the tiebreaker over you. So you're in the 6th seed right now, but you're 2 games behind the Clippers. Remember, you have the tiebreaker over the Clippers. So if you get to 4, you get home court for the first round. And obviously you want to be in the top 6 to avoid the play-in. So we're all thinking, all right, well, how can New Orleans catch the Clippers and get home court advantage in the first round? You're 2 games behind Los Angeles. The flip side of it is Sacramento and Phoenix are 2 games behind you. They're looking like Phoenix comes in tonight going, hey, that's the team we're trying to catch for the last spot to avoid the play-in. You can make up a full game on them if you go into their building and win tonight. So this one is massive for New Orleans, not only because they're trying to keep pace and catch the Clippers, but also to fend off Phoenix, which is 2 games behind you. So you lose tonight, you're a game ahead of Phoenix in the 6th spot, avoid the play-in. So work to do. You can't lay down. Of course, the Pels will play Orlando in New Orleans on Wednesday night. I'll be in that number on Wednesday. Looking forward to being there. Okay, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LSU basketball got a commit over the weekend. I'll get to that here in just a quick second. But, of course, gentlemen, thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. We talk all the time about engagement. You want to buy that engagement ring? You want to buy a diamond that will last, that she'll look at and be thrilled every time for the rest of her life that she looks down and looks at her left ring finger? That's what Lee Michaels has been doing for more than 4 decades. And not just in Baton Rouge. There's 2 locations in Baton Rouge. But they've got a New Orleans location, a Lafayette location, a Shreveport location, in all 9 different locations. And because they buy diamonds, the highest quality diamonds in the world, for 9 different locations they buy in bulk, they get best prices, which they can pass along to you. So you'll get an amazing, a beautiful diamond that will thrill her. And you always get the Lee Michaels experience. LMFJ.com. If they don't have what you want, they'll find it, or they can custom make it for you. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LSU picked up a basketball commit over the weekend. Cam Carter picked the Tigers. A little backstory here on Cam Carter, who is a Donaldsonville native. So he's from Louisiana, prepped at Donaldsonville. He chose Mississippi State out of high school. So the 21-22 season, he went to Starkville and played sparingly. Started 4 games, played in 27, averaged about 8 minutes a game. And after 1 year, transferred to Kansas State, where he's been for the last 2 years. And what you've seen from Cam Carter in his college career is every year a gradual increase in the minutes played and his production and productivity. So his freshman year at State, he averaged 2 points a game. His first year at Kansas State, he went to 6 points and 3 boards per game. And then this year, his junior year, his second year at Kansas State, 14.5 points, 5 boards per game, and 2.5 assists. 14 points, 5 boards, 2.5 assists, and this is junior year, where he started all 34 games that he played in. So you're talking about a 6'3", 195-pound guard that's coming home. Again, very similar to the concept we saw Brian Kelly use in football, where you'd look at guys that are from Louisiana that left the state. How do you bring them closer to home? And that's what Matt McMahon did a year ago with his basketball team. And it worked. Jordan Wright was your best player this year. And you went and brought Jalen Cook back. You got Carlos Stewart back home. So I love that approach of finding guys that maybe grew up wanting to wear that uniform, wanting to play for LSU, getting them experience and bringing them back home. So, we're going to look at the LSU roster and how it all sort of transpires throughout this offseason. Who comes back, who's gone. You got some guys that were seniors that that you're graduating. Jordan Wright, most notably among them. A senior guard who's gone. But I love adding an experienced guy with ties to the area who's proven he can score at the Power 5 level. He averaged 14 and 5 this year, and you're going to need some offense to bring in the team. So a nice get there from Matt McManus. He's going to look. Look, this is how it's going to go for this program. You're going to have to. This is really every program in college basketball and all the college sports with the transfer portal. Is there's going to be a higher element of turnover year after year. But that's something college basketball has probably dealt with more than other sports because of the one-and-done rule. So, yeah, you're going to have significant turnover this year for Matt McMahon, but not nearly as much as a year ago, and certainly not as much as the day he showed up, where 2 weeks after he was hired, he had no scholarship players. But I like what you're getting there in Cam Carter, transferring in from Kansas State. Okay, quick break. We'll wrap up hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. Talk some SEC baseball with Luch in about 15 minutes from right now. Tigers swept on the road at Arkansas. LSU at 2-7 in the league. A lot of work to be done. Starts tonight as LSU is on the field tonight for a game against Southern. Remember, they played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so everything's kind of bumped up because they play another Thursday, Friday, Saturday series with Vanderbilt coming in this weekend. So we'll talk about all that with Luch here in about 15 minutes. We're glad you're here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources. You know where to find them online, glowresources.com, G-L-O, glowresources.com. And who I'm talking to when I talk about Glow Resources are you, the business owner. Remember, Glow is not a staffing company. They're not a temp staffing agency. They represent the client. They represent you, the business owner. And every order is specific. And they seek individuals to meet the client's criteria. So whatever exactly is the job specification you're looking to fill, that's Glow Resource. They're not a temp staffing solution. It's not a last resort when you have a job and you need to hurry up and fill. It's, are you looking for a career opportunity? That's what Glow Resources helps with. And they're everywhere. The hiring market's bad. Let Glow Resources help. glowresources.com. G-L-O, glowresources.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Did you watch the UFL this week, Matt?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither, but I was on Twitter a lot, and it was impossible to not see what Brad Wing did if you were on Twitter. So Brad Wing is punting for the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL. It was a field goal. I think it was about a 60-yard field goal or so that they were attempting. He's obviously the holder as the punter, and before they snap the ball, they shift out of formation. Wing takes the snap, drops back to pass, and finds his center for a 40-yard touchdown pass. I guess that would technically be the long snapper, but everyone keeps calling him the center.
Well, no, because the long snapper's not eligible. So he was a blocker, but he was eligible at the look. If you're looking at the end of the line of scrimmage on the right side of your screen, that's so. In the formation, he was the left end, but he's the center who's the blocker
team,
who goes right down the middle. The shame is on the safety who didn't make this tackle at the 10-yard line.
Yeah,
how do you let that guy stiff arm you and then extend the ball and get into the end zone? That's embarrassing for 38.
He's a large human, for one.
Cut his legs out. Come on.
I mean, just say.
Embarrassing.
All right.
Great throw by Wing.
Great throw.
Embarrassing number 38. They should clown him in film forever for letting that guy get in the end zone.
Good pocket presence from Brad Wing on the play, too. A lot of time, climbed the pocket well, and delivered a strike. So Brad Wing, 1 for 1, 40 yards and a touchdown.
Beautiful.
Jontre Kirkland was the leading receiver in that ball game for the San Antonio Brahmas. 8 total catches off of 9 targets, 61 yards and a touchdown. But he also took 2 different defenders' ankles in this ball game. One of them on a screen pass that I believe you have handy as well. I mean, just completely makes the guy whiff. So Jontre Kirkland, who can also throw the football if they really want to go there. We've seen him play quarterback before with a really solid day, man. See if he can find his way back to the NFL. Major League Baseball action. Kevin Gausman was on the bump yesterday for the Blue Jays. Got a no decision, but was really good. 4 1/3, 2 hits and an earned run. Didn't walk anybody and punched out 6.
Have I mentioned to you how much I love Major League Baseball, by the way?
No.
I've ever told you that I can't wait to watch so much of it this year.
You're feeling it now, huh? Yeah, a little 4-0 start. You're digging it. You're digging it. Huh?
We were here on opening day Thursday, and the Yankees got down 4-0 in the first inning.
Yep.
Opening day, I just found out Garrett Cole's going to the 60-day IL. I mean, complete bummer. They get down 4-0 in the first. I'm like, I hate baseball. I'm not watching any. I'm not watching baseball at all this year. Not only do they rally to win that game, but they win all 4 games, and Juan Soto's hitting 500.
Yeah. Well, that was the other part of that you left out where you're like, what do I have to look forward to this year? Juan Soto? I'm like he's pretty good, man.
Juan Soto's going to stay. I've seen him before, though, Muse. How many times have we seen high-ticket, high-price free agents go to New York and suck in New York?
Gallo.
You want to go down the list? We don't have enough time to go down the list. We're good so far.
I mean, it's a good start for Soda.
Was it 5:29, something like that? On the opening weekend? It's ridiculous.
158 more to go, though. I mean, there's a long way here.
I don't care.
All right.
Look, I just want to see him get back in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here picking a fight with you Astros people. I don't care. I'm just saying. I'm excited.
Yeah, you picked the Astros to go to the World Series.
I did.
I
picked the Dodgers to win it.
You picked the Astros
I
to be
did.
there.
I picked Astros Dodgers World Series.
Anyway, Jake Fraley went 3 for 4 Sunday. He's hitting .625.
That's good.
Early in the season. I'm hoping he stays healthy, man, because he was off to a great start last year before getting injured. Strong to quite strong. How about Jake Slaughter? 1 for 4 yesterday. 2-run homer. Oppo shot. First inning. Only score of the game. Iowa Cubs won it 2-0. Your guy, Jake Slaughter.
Yeah, boy.
Cam Thomas dropped a bunch of points. I'm running out of time. Cam Johnson had... Excuse me, Cam Thomas.
That's the wrong
Cam Thomas. He dropped 30 again. This time on the Lakers, and the Nets lost again. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Of course, we are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah. They do indoor shutters as well. Did I mention they're just awesome people? Love telling you about Brandon and Adrian Holly. Been great supporters of the show, great friends for a long time. If you need windows, doors, siding, or indoor shutters, there's just nobody better. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all. Been a great show so far. We got an hour to go, and glad you're hanging out with us. We're counting you down to tip of LSU and Iowa. When we come back, though, we'll talk a little baseball. David Dellucci joins us here on Mondays in AFR to recap the weekend that was in SEC baseball. So we'll do that when we come back right after SportsCenter. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you haven't seen this yet, I just shared it on social media. It's our news partners over at WBRZ did a feature, the Williamson Eye Center, and a life-changing surgery for Stephen Kaufman, a local man who was born with some vision issues and then some other things that have prevented him from wearing contacts and glasses. Dr. Blake Williamson performed a first of its kind in the world on a local man, Stephen Kaufman. It's a cataract surgery, the first ever. So when I tell you all the time that Dr. Blake Williamson is advancing ophthalmology, goes all over the world to train and to lecture, this is evidence of it. The first man in the world to have this specific cataract surgery is right here in Baton Rouge with Dr. Blake Williamson. He is just the best. I trust him with my eyes. You should as well. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off the new 23 Ram 1500 SCA truck. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $22,500 off the new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Women's Elite Eight wraps up tonight with a powerhouse doubleheader on ESPN starting at 7 Eastern. Iowa plays LSU in Albany, then UConn and USC in Portland. What does a night like this do for women's basketball and its players? ESPN's Monica McNutt.
They are marketing gold mines. They are incredible young women that are willing to use their voices and their platforms for their causes and to inspire the generations coming behind them. And I just think it's an amazing time in the sport. I could not be more thrilled to be a part of it.
Monica McNutt on game night. That incorrect three-point line has been fixed in Portland. Teams played over the weekend on that floor with the line 9 inches closer to the basket at the top of the arc than it should have been at one end. In 5 games, teams actually shot better from the standard distance than from the shorter distance. The Eagles signed safety Reed Blankenship to a 1-year extension today. Blankenship's deal now runs through the 2025 NFL season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona. And here we go. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. An hour away from tip, LSU and Iowa rematch of the national championship game. Winner heads back to the Final Four. We'll get some thoughts on that. LSU baseball also tonight at home against Southern. We should have a lineup before we go off air, so we'll get that to you as well. I do want to respond to the Times and the Washington Post thing from this weekend, just to be on the record. I'll get to that in 15 minutes. David Dellucci joins us every Monday. We talk a little SEC baseball about the weekend that was. Luch is with us here. Luch, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. I know the Tiger fans are worried about their baseball team, but remember, there's plenty more baseball left in conference play.
So look, 2-7. I mean, you can't put a lipstick on that pig, Luch. They're 2-7, and they've lost all 3 weekends. Give me a reason for hope when you say like they could break through, they could be close to a turnaround. What do you see that are the positives from the team right now?
I think from a positive side, they've been in every single game except the one game at home against Florida. I mean, you're looking at one hit, one play, one pitch away from winning the Mississippi State series, winning the Florida series. and really turning around the Arkansas series as well. I mean, they've been on the wrong side of some bad luck. They faced teams that have been locked in either offensively or on the mound. But let's not forget, you're the defending national champs, so you're going to have a bullseye on your back no matter who you play, and that elevates the opposing team. And look, I mean, LSU has just played a schedule that's extremely difficult against this past weekend, the nation's number one team, probably the best bullpen in the nation, probably the best game one starter in the nation, and an offense that just had timely hits. So I know it sounds like you're making excuses or it sounds like you're being overly positive, but it's a gauntlet. We talked last week. It's 10 rounds. It's like a 10-round boxing match. LSU has just lost the first 3 rounds, but you have 7 more to go. And I look at Auburn. I think Auburn is a very good team. They're 1-8 right now. That's crazy to think that Auburn's 1-8. But I know that they're going to have a run in them, and I firmly believe that LSU is a better team on all 3 phases of the diamond than Auburn, and I know LSU's got a run coming.
The schedule is definitely going to lighten up for LSU, but it ain't this week because they got Vanderbilt, and then they're at Tennessee. So no rest for the weary. Hey, I do want to get your thought, Luch. The decision that LSU made to pitch off this weekend and save Holman jump for games 2 and 3 and go whole staff on Thursday. Just as a general feeling, do you feel about that, or do you think that was the right call for Jay Johnson?
I felt like it was the right call for a couple reasons. Number one was you want to keep your game one starter on the consistent schedule, the same schedule that he's had so much success, especially younger ages. These young men are not good at adapting to new routines, especially pitchers. They're creatures of habits. They like to do their long toss on certain days, their bullpens on certain days. And it just could, over the course of the season, you kind of have to look for the greater good than just the instant success. That was the number one reason I thought that Jay made a good move. Number two is Hagen Smith is the 2024 version of Paul Skeens. Not quite as dominant, but he is the number one guy this year. And it just so happened that you keep Luke Holman on his regular routine, but it also gave you an opportunity to win game 2 and 3 to take the series, because that's the main goal, is to win series, not individual games. So I didn't have a problem with it.
It is worth noting that as far as the routine, that Arkansas didn't move Hagen Smith off of his routine. And we saw Jay Johnson do that with Skeens last year, where he'd pitch Skeens on Thursday when they did play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So there's different ways to skin a cat. It's just, boy, Luch, it's tough. It's tough to just sort of concede a game. It's tough to watch and just say, But I get it. Your goal is to win the series. And what's going to give you the best opportunity to win the series instead of just a game. Luch, what of the 3 sweeps, the 4 sweeps this weekend, which maybe was the most surprising to you?
Golly, man. I would say Kentucky sweeping Ole Miss was maybe not that big of a surprise that they would do it, but the way they did, they absolutely manhandled Ole Miss. A&M swept Auburn. They're a very, very good team. But goodness, Kentucky game 1, 5-3, game 2, 17-9, game 3, 15-1. This is a Kentucky team that is recreating small ball, but yet they are dropping just shy of 20 runs 2 times in the series. It's a team that we really need to keep a close eye on. They're 8-1, leading the SEC East division. Look, man, I'm surprised that they're up there. I'm surprised that they're beating teams this bad. And this is not the first sweep that Kentucky's had this year. I mean, they are a loss at Missouri away from winning every single SEC game so far. So I think Kentucky is surprising everybody.
The other one that stood out from the weekend, Luch, to me was Florida. And look, Jack Kaggs provided the heroics, the walk-off to win the series. How real is Florida?
Florida is they are on the verge of being something special. And it's an interesting pitching staff because they are extremely talented, but they're very, very young. And so I think Kevin O'Sullivan understood he was going to take his licks early in the season. He was going to need an offense that was going to carry the pitching staff, and it has. But the pitching woes has continued further into the season than I think Sully would like to see. So much that they moved their reliable closer, Brandon Neely, to the starting rotation in the position of Cam Fisher. If they get their starting pitching down properly, they're pretty darn impressive. I mean, the offense is unreal. It's insane the numbers that they can put up and to win ball games at any time. The pitching staff is lacking, man, but typically in the SEC, these freshmen that start off the season, as they log in more innings and log in more at-bats, they're so talented that they become better and better and more comfortable with the competition. At Florida, very similar, LSU will be a better team in May than it is now. But all the pieces are there. They're just not effective, man. They're going to get there, but right now they're just sporadic.
David Dellucci's with us. Hey, Lucci, Vandy comes to Baton Rouge this week, and you've had these completely contrasting weekends where Vandy got swept at South Carolina, and then they come home and sweep Missouri. So the truth usually lies somewhere in between, but what do we feel like we do know about Vanderbilt as they come to Baton Rouge this week?
Well, the good news is they only scored, 10 runs in 3 games against Missouri. The bad news is they only gave up 2 runs in 3 games against Missouri. It's an offense that is tied for last in home runs, I think, with 29 in the SEC. They're not going to outslug you. The series that they did so well offensively early on, it was 2 games. They got 17 hits in their game 3. The 17 hits, 15 were singles. Now, that will deflate a defense and deflate a pitching staff when every time you look and there's a guy hitting a single here, single there, there's a rally here, rally there. But I don't think that they're going to be able to stand toe-to-toe and throw haymakers with LSU. What I would be concerned with is their starting pitching is outstanding. And they may have a deeper rotation than Arkansas. There's no Hagen Smith out there, but they do have Devin Futrell, who missed last week for rest. He was an SEC Pitcher of the Week. He threw a complete game shutout against Indiana State or Illinois State earlier in the season. Bryce Cunningham is the reigning SEC Pitcher of the Week. He did not have an earned run, only threw 1 hit in 7 innings, 12 strikeouts over the weekend. And Carter Holton is a very, very good Game 1 starter as well. So the 3 starting pitchers are pretty darn good. Their bullpen is erratic. They can walk a lot of batters. I think LSU fares really well if they get into the bullpen. I would like to see the LSU offense just from 1 to 9 be able to string some hits together. They rely on Tommy White, Trubinsky, Jared Jones to hit the home run. Mac Bingham is coming around. Braswell's coming around. But it just seems like a team that needs to put a rally together, take a deep breath and relax and go, this is what we're capable of. Let's stop pressing and let everybody do what they can do best.
Luch, last thing, one more on LSU since you brought up the offense. Is it as simple as saying that, look, Jay's relying on a lot of young guys, giving a lot of young guys opportunities, right? If it's Milam, Larson, Fry, a lot of the young guys. Is it let those young guys take their lumps, they'll be better as the season goes along, or do you revert to form and play some of the veteran guys who have been there but maybe don't have a highest ceiling as those really young, talented guys?
It's funny you say that because I thought, when he put in Cam Johnson, the pitcher, in Game 1 or whatever, I thought that was an opportunity. Game 2, opportunity to put a freshman in the fire and say, this is what it's like. Go out there, whether you get them or you don't, at least you understand what it's like to play on the road against the number 1 team in the nation. There's some of that going on. But at some point, Matt, it's about wins and losses, man. I mean, at some point, he's going to put the guys in there that he has the most faith in. and you'd like to see the more talented freshmen come through, but you can only wait so long. And the move for Tommy White to go in the leadoff spot, I know you want your best hitter to get as many at-bats as he can, kind of tells me he doesn't feel comfortable with guys getting on base in front of him. And so he's looking for some on-base guys to set the table for the big thumpers. And at some point, an offensive player is going to have to say, I don't care if I lean into every single pitch to get on base, but we got to do something for the big guys that can hit the home runs, or else it's going to be low-scoring ball games from here on out.
David Dellucci is one of the best. Always appreciate these visits every Monday. Thanks, Luch. We'll do it again next week.
Yes, thanks for having me. Take care.
Man. Be well. It's after further review. Well, now I got a quick break. One of the giant stories over the weekend, of course, was the Washington Post story on Kim Mulkey Publishing, and also an LA Times piece which published that has since been edited. Well, Ben Bolch, who was the author of that LA Times piece, has literally just minutes ago while we were talking to Luch published an apology. So we'll delve into that when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. If you are even thinking about selling your home, why in the world would you call anybody else? I got great news. I got fantastic news. The market is coming back. You're seeing inventory on the market again, and what you're actually seeing is home buyers recognizing, look, we just saw rates tick down. You'll probably have another rate decrease coming up. People are starting to be active in the market again. So if you're thinking about selling your home, now's the time, y'all. It's spring. This is obviously the time where, as you move toward the end of the school year, maybe people change jobs. This is the time to beat the rush to the market. Call Darren James. Wall Street Journal's listed the top 1,000 realtors in America. Darren's number 54 last year. Why would you call anyone other than the best? 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Counting down, 41 minutes away from tip LSU and Iowa for the regional final. Winner goes to the Final Four, a rematch of last year's national championship game, as we well know. And there's been so much conversation about this game. Kim Mulkey was asked in her press conference on Sunday about last year's game plan against Iowa and if it factors in this year.
Well, each of us are a new team. We're not the same team we were last year, nor are they, but you certainly have some key pieces on each team. And our game plan will not even mention what we did last year because we don't have the same personnel.
And I don't think that's far cry from reality. I mean, your guard dominant lineup last year isn't the same. I mean, we talked about Jasmine Carson scoring 22 off the bench, but Jasmine Carson, Alexis Morris are gone. Flaugier has been amazing, certainly over the last month. But LSU is a very different team, and this matchup certainly looks like it's far more going to lean on Angel Reese and Anissa Morrow and their ability against this Iowa team in particular. And it's another opportunity for LSU to punch ticket to a Final Four, but it's another opportunity as well to build on what LSU and Iowa did a year ago. Look, I mean, Angel Reese talked about that on Sunday when she met with reporters about last year, 9.9 million people watched LSU-Iowa, by far the most watched women's basketball game ever, and this is an opportunity maybe to continue to push that momentum forward.
It's just another game to help grow women's basketball. It's going to be unfortunate, of course, to play them just in the regionals, but of course, we're just happy to be a part of it. We're happy where we are right now. We really can't complain about it. So I know a lot of people are going to watch the game, and then the next round, more people are going to watch that game. So just keep bringing attention to the game, so I wouldn't complain about it.
I think that's undeniably true, not only because, and I think there's several dynamics there that we can get into that are outside of the game. Like, number one, having a lot of the tournament games to this point on ABC. And while I understand we live in an era of cord cutting, the majority of American households still have cable. And when you have the games on one of the networks, I mean, if you just do what a lot of households do, you just open up the guide and you start at channel 2 or 3, whatever it is, and you're going to see right there on your guide the game. So more people are going to inadvertently find the game when it's on ABC as opposed to ESPN, which tonight is on ESPN. We talked in hour one with Jeff Linder, who covers Iowa, and he thought this game tonight would do a better rating than last year. I disagree with that for several reasons. That was a Sunday afternoon when people largely are at home, and it was also on ABC, and you had the momentum of Caitlin Clark's phenomenal performance against South Carolina in the Final Four that grabbed so many people's attention, made them watch that game. Then you had Kim Mulkey and all the pizzazz of LSU. I don't think Caitlin Clark is amazing, but just the fact that it's a rematch of last year's game and all that sort of stuff, and there's tremendous interest. But the fact that it is on ESPN, I think, means you probably won't find the same number that you did a year ago. It could be comparable, but I don't know that you best that number of a season ago. But it is an opportunity to continue to grow in women's college basketball, which is going to bring a lot of eyeballs to TV sets tonight to watch this sport. The other part of it is all the ancillary things that have happened over the last week. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that would like to just move beyond it, but I do feel like I'm obligated in this role, in this market, to talk about these things that are major, have become major national stories that are so closely interwoven with this game and with this program. And that is the Washington Post feature about Kim Mulkey, and then the column that Ben Bolch from the LA Times wrote. let me just begin with the most immediate thing, because about 10 minutes ago, Ben Bolch on his social media published an apology. It's not a very long message, but I would like to read it in full so nothing is omitted. And just for one more piece of context, Ben Bolch has been on this show before. When LSU played UCLA in football in 2021, Ben was the guy we called on several times to come on this show to talk about the Bruins. He's the LA Times, he's the UCLA beat writer for the LA Times. For many obvious reasons, I don't think Ben Bolch was picking up the phone and doing a lot of media over the last couple of days, but here's what he has written. I'll read directly. Quote, "It has taken me 2 days to write this apology because I wanted to be as thoughtful as possible in my response to the situation I have created. These are words I have not been asked to write by anyone at my paper, but they need to be expressed so that I can own up to my mistake. Words matter. As a journalist, no one should know this more than me. Yet I have failed miserably in my choice of words. In my column previewing the LSU-UCLA women's basketball game, I tried to be clever in my phrasing about one team's attitude, using alliteration, while not understanding the deeply offensive connotation or associations. I also used metaphors that were not appropriate. Our society has had to deal with so many layers of misogyny, racism, and negativity that I can now see why the words I used were wrong. It was not my intent to be hurtful, but I now understand that I terribly missed the mark. I sincerely apologize to the LSU and UCLA basketball teams and to our readers. UCLA, a school I have covered for nearly a decade, champions diversity and is known as a leader in inclusivity. However, I have not upheld that standard in what I wrote, and I will do much better. I am deeply sorry." That's the statement from Ben Bolch of the LA Times. And I to a degree I can empathize with Ben Bolch, because what he's saying there is believable in that he was trying to be creative. And the phrasing, what he's talking about is the dirty debutantes. He was trying to use alliteration and creative phrasing, which you do sometimes in writing. And he said, I didn't understand what I wrote, but that's on him. But not only him, that's why you have editors and deputy editors to make sure things like that don't ever get published. But they did. And the LA Times has since published an edited version of that story, which omits that verbiage, and also the verbiage of saying good versus evil, which is the, as he said it, the metaphor that he was using. Because calling a collegiate basketball team evil, a women's college basketball team evil, is absurd on many levels. I don't know how you could refer to UCLA as America's sweethearts and talking about how UCLA wants to grow the game while LSU is trying to divide it. We just talked about the television ratings from a year ago. The UCLA women's basketball Twitter has 24,000 followers. For context, I have 66,000 followers. That's absurd. And there's nobody outside of Baton Rouge that knows who I am. But it just goes to show you, like, in Los Angeles in particular, no, UCLA women's basketball isn't growing the game. They have a very good team this year, but to be very clear, like, the attention that LSU's program has brought, and that's what Kim Mulkey was trying to express over the weekend, that LSU's program has brought to this sport. She said it so many times throughout the course of the season, the interviews she does with T-Bob and Hester on those Tuesday interviews. It's like when they go, it's like the Beatles going to town. There's lines waiting to see him and people waiting for pictures and photos, and her players oblige, and that's a great thing for this sport. So I will take Ben Bolch at his word and believe that he is sincere in his apology. There's another great irony interwoven into this, and that Nancy Armour ended up being LSU's greatest defender. And if you don't know, Nancy Armour is a columnist for USA Today who is a extreme left-leaning columnist who certainly exposed herself as such during COVID and a lot of other things. But I hesitate to use even terms or phrasing like that because so many people just shut off. But when Nancy Armour ends up being LSU's defender, that illustrates just how much Ben Bolch and the Washington Post missed the mark on the Kim Mulkey stories and the LSU stories. The Washington Post thing was a total non-story. It was a feature piece on Kim Mulkey, and they did refer to some things that we already knew, which Brittany Griner talked about a decade ago, and now Kim Mulkey, she alleges, Griner does, that Mulkey encouraged her not to come out as gay, and a lot of other stuff. The sad part of this is you had guys like Pat Forty and Dan Wolken and others in the media who characterized what was coming as a bombshell or groundbreaking, and it was nothing new. It was basically the double standard that we've come to expect when it comes to Kim Mulkey, where as a female coach, as a woman coach, she is held to a different standard than male coaches. I mean, how many of us have seen or used the gif of Nick Saban and Will Muschamp when they were at LSU acting like complete lunatics when Lionel Turner's running off the field? You know what I'm saying? We've all seen it. Like, Kim Mulkey does that, and she's mean to her players, she's rude, she's offensive. They do it, and they're intense competitors, and that is the double standard that exists with male and female coaches. I mean, I have the vision of Nick Saban like chewing A.J. McCarron up and down coming off the field, winding up and whacking him on the butt, if you remember that viral moment. I mean, I don't know that there's much more to be said other than there's people who disagree with Kim Mulkey fundamentally on certain issues that take offense at her. And so when they have an opportunity to cast her in a certain light, they're doing it. And Kent Babb of the Washington Post clearly is one of those guys. And that's embarrassing. And it's also embarrassing that they would drop that 2 hours before tip-off of the game on Saturday. And it's also embarrassing that the editors would allow something like that to go forward. But that's just the nature of it when everything is viewed through a certain prism. And it's why you do have this very contentious relationship between players, coaches, media, and fans in media in this day and age. And the hard part is, as someone who is in not only media but opinion media, we live in a culture where it is so hard for the consumer to differentiate now what is credible and what is not, because anybody with a phone has international distribution at their fingertips, and people will try to break news or act as reporters, or anybody can be a podcaster, and I'm all for that, by the way. Like, the great thing about the internet is that we live in a true meritocracy now, that if you are good, you can win. The public decides. The flip side of that is it has never been harder to determine and differentiate what is legit and credible and what is not, because there is so much information out there. So I guess the only message I have is be smart as a consumer of content, and understanding and recognizing what you believe is good and credible, and support those people that do good, credible work. And I hope this is the last time we have to talk about this. I hope LSU wins tonight, beats Iowa, and people praise this really exciting team of young ladies that have worked hard and been a joy to talk to and to cover all year, man. I mean, we've had a chance to talk to a lot of the LSU women's basketball players because they all did NIL deals with Gordon. So as part of the G team, we've had a lot of them come through here and had the opportunity to talk to them, and they've been engaging and fun, and I wish them well. So hopefully this all of this cloud of negativity that's surrounded LSU for things having nothing to do whatsoever with things on the court dissipates, and we can watch a basketball game tonight that's hopefully really well played, and hopefully that LSU goes and wins and advances to the Final Four. Okay, speaking of which, I'm going to get to tell you about Gordon in just a second. I'm brought to you by Evermore. Evermore is natural artesian water. As a matter of fact, went and picked up a 6-pack of the 32-ounce bottles today over at Rouse's, but you can find Evermore at so many great local retailers, so many great retailers, or online at evermore.com, EVAMOR, evermore.com. I'll be very honest with you, y'all. I ate crawfish 3 days in a row. I ate crawfish and drank beer 3 days in a row. Your boy woke up this morning just feeling like a blob of salt and dehydration. So I needed to hydrate. And I have, if you're watching, you'll see, I have a 32-ounce bottle right here, which is the prop on the set. And I went to Rouse's and bought a 64-ounce bottle as well. And I've drank one, and I'm halfway done with the second one. So practice what I preach. I love it. It's fantastic. It's a Louisiana product, and it doesn't touch the air until you open your bottle after you buy it. This is an all-natural product. It's an amazing product with national distribution, and you're supporting a great Louisiana company as well. Evermore, EVAMOR, evermore.com, evermore.com. or pick it up at great local retailers. All right, y'all. It is after further review. We have a lineup yet for LSU and Southern? Okay, LSU and Southern first pitch an hour from right now. We'll grab a quick break, come back. We will take a look at the starting lineup tonight for LSU and Southern in baseball. Basketball game, 26 minutes from tip as well. So busy night. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Told you I was going to tell you about Gordon. Hey, look, I'm not sure I need to mention anything else today other than just on behalf of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, good luck to Kim Mulkey, member of the G team, Angel Reese, Flaugier, of course, did the Get Gordon rap, Michaela Williams, who's been in our studio representing the G team. You know, Gordon is one of the first big NIL deals he did was with the entire LSU women's basketball team. And they went on to win the national championship last year. And so many of those members of the basketball team are back on the G team again this year. And look, the ladies awarded Gordon with a national championship ring as well, which is a really cool video that they posted on their social media. The best thing probably to say is just on behalf of everyone at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, good luck to Coach Kim Mulkey and the rest of the LSU women's basketball team tonight against Iowa. And as hopefully they continue their run to another Final Four and another national championship. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off the new 23 Ram 1500 SCA truck. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $22,500 off the new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Gonna go quickly here. Heard that Otter is chaperoning spring break for young Ethan Ott, EJ. I don't know if Otter's going to be available to us.
Chaperoning
The
Otter?
The Otter is chaperoning spring break.
All right.
Blessings and prayers to all of those children. Actually, to their parents. I'm kidding. But we'll see if Otter's available. I would love a pick from the Otter. All right, LSU baseball. This is so far down the list of things that people here I think are going to care about tonight. But LSU is going to play Southern in baseball. Tigers played a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series against Arkansas. Came home. Obviously, it was Easter, so they play Monday. So this would be like playing a Tuesday game on a normal week. And then they play again this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday against Vanderbilt. So you get it falls as a normal Tuesday game would if you were playing a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. Here's the lineup. It's out. You have some interesting changes in this one. But Jay Johnson is digging, man. He is trying to find who's going to step up and what lineup will work. Mac Bingham is going to play center and lead off. Tommy White, go back to the 2-hole. He'll play third. Ashton Larson's going to get the start in left. And the two young guys that Jay clearly favors are Ethan Fry and Ashton Larson. He's given those guys a ton of opportunity now. Larson's going to get the start in left. Jared Jones will play first and bat cleanup. Travinsky's going to DH tonight and bat fifth. Brady Neal will play right and bat sixth. And then the bottom third of your order, Braswell stays at short in the 7-hole. Ben DePolt is going to get the start at second base tonight and bat eighth. And then Milazzo is going to catch and bat ninth. To a degree, this is kind of what I've been asking for, which is, and I want to be very clear, this is also a Monday night against Southern. It's not a weekend in conference when you have to win. This may be an opportunity just to get guys ABs and reps. But the question I've sort of asked out loud here is, okay, do you keep riding with your young guys to get them reps, to get them ABs, take your lumps and move along and hope by the end of the season they're much better? Or do you lean on maybe some of your more veteran guys who have been there, who have been through these battles and these wars that can find a way to push across the finish line? Well, Ben DePolt's a veteran guy. You're getting him to start at second base. Milazzo's back in there catching and batting ninth. You're getting Neal in the lineup in right field. You are going to be a lesser defensive team tonight. Bingham in center is not your best defensive option. Neal in right is not your best defensive option. The middle infield of Braswell and DePolt, I think, is fine. I mean, Ben DePolt has been a really good infielder, and I think he can play almost anywhere across the diamond. So Milazzo catching. So you're getting a more veteran lineup out there, and then Cade Anderson's going to start. You know, when Cade Anderson had those really good starts in the pre-conference in the midweek, one of the things that we talked about was, is Cade Anderson more valuable to you as a midweek starter or as a reliever on the SEC weekend? And Jay Johnson answered that question because he went and used Cade Anderson in consecutive weeks in the SEC on the weekend, and it didn't go well. So now let's see how he fares here in a midweek start to see if he looks like the guy he did in the pre-conference. And that's not to say, by the way, that as the season goes along and Cade Anderson gets more comfortable and he gets more experienced, that he won't be more valuable to this team as a reliever on the SEC weekends. But it's hard to jump from high school, no matter what level you play, into college baseball and be an impact contributor immediately, let alone in the Southeastern Conference. So, yes, there's challenges there, but let's see how they fare tonight against Southern. Okay, it is after further review. I am so excited to tell you about Optimize Generator People. Optimize is a Generac home standby generator dealer for the entire state of Louisiana. And really what they cover is the 10-12 corridor. With now 4 locations anywhere on the I-10, I-12 corridor in Louisiana, our friends at Optimize can install a Generac automatic home standby generator. The best time to install a standby generator, a whole home generator, is before storm season. And a lot of you may be getting your tax-free refunds right now. This is the time to call Optimize. And I want to be clear about something. There's a lot of companies that can install automatic home standby generators. There's a lot of companies that can do that. But a lot of companies, and I would challenge you to check this out, a lot of companies, it's one of the things they do. The difference with Optimize is residential Generac automatic home standby generators. That is all they do. 100% of their business are Generac home standby generators. That's it. So they have inventory. They've got installers that know the business, that know the product. The other thing that is so important that people think, I thought this, I didn't know, oh, you're going to buy a generator? Great. They'll come, they'll plug it in, it's good. No. There's permitting with the city. The energy company has to get involved. There's so many things that you have to check before you're ready to roll. Optimize handles all of that. They are Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer. There's nobody in the state that sells more Generac home standby generators than Optimize. So give them a call anywhere in Louisiana, 800-927-4832, 800-927-4832, 800-927-4832, or visit them online at optimizeegs.com. That's optimizeegs.com. Optimize Generator. People excited to tell you much more about this great company in the coming days and weeks and months. All right, y'all. It's after further review. Again, LSU and Iowa, about 15 minutes away from tip. Excited about that as we inch closer, and we'll find out after tonight if LSU's headed back to the Final Four for the second consecutive year. Tigers and Hawkeyes, Angel Reese, Flaugier, Haley Van Lith, Caitlin Clark, star-studded game tonight with LSU and Iowa. We'll see how it goes coming up here shortly. Okay, final break of the show. When we come back, we'll see if we have Otter. If not, we'll see if Otter can get us some picks just via text. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, if y'all are looking for something to do tonight, you can always get by the Watermark or the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. The Gregory is the restaurant at the Watermark downtown. Great bar area as well at the Gregory. I tell you all the time, with the Gregory, the thing that stands out, the differentiator, is their indoor charcoal oven. So when you walk into the lobby, and right there at the Gregory, you will smell all the amazing aromas of food cooking on their indoor, all-natural charcoal grill. It's amazing. That's the Gregory at the Watermark in downtown Baton Rouge. Remember, when you go eat at the Gregory, it's always complimentary valet parking. So you don't have to worry about parking downtown. Just pull up. They'll valet your car for free when you're going to eat at the Gregory. Also, the Renaissance, right there on Bluebonnet. We've told you for more than a year now about Tallulah inside of the Renaissance, and you all have made sure that is no longer a secret. One of Baton Rouge's fine dining destinations. It's Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and of an incomprehensible, the Outfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Good, Matthew. How about you?
How's spring break?
En route.
Okay.
So, yeah. Tell your dad light an extra candle for me this week. So,
I'll have the deacon throw down some special blessing and dispensation or something like that.
No. Please. Anybody out there? I need all the mojo I can get on this one.
I love trouble. Oh, I love it. If only they knew what spring break was like for James Ott 40 years ago.
Yeah, I think they kind of have an idea.
Probably so. Hey, man, do we like anything on the card tonight?
Yeah. I was betting with my heart here, but I am on LSU tonight, 2.5 by the 3.
Okay.
I think this is a pick'em game. I mean, it's. I don't have to describe. Everybody knows the deal, and man, that was just a perfect game they played last year. So the other one, Matt, I got a strong opinion, man. The 1 seed is catching 3.5 against the 3 seed. UConn was the 3 seed. They're playing with right now with USC. Watched them in a Pac-12 tournament final against Stanford, and they're really good. We know about the freshman, Juju Smith, but she wasn't the kid that plays at St. Mary's. His sister was the most outstanding player. They're more than just a one-trick pony. They're good, and I'll take 3.5 and buy it to 4 on that one.
Okay, so USC plus what do you attribute that to, Otter? That line there.
UConn.
Yeah.
UConn's way more public basketball, women's basketball, than USC.
I mean, I can't pretend to know a lot about either of those teams, but that does seem like that's what it would be, especially with USC being the 1 seed there, with Juju kind of having a lot of the name.
Pac-12 kind of thought of as the toughest conference this year in women's basketball, and they look great in it. I mean, it really wasn't even a contest against Stanford, who was also, a number 1 seed in the tournament. So I think the wrong team is favored. So both of these games should be coin flips. You going to give me points in both of them? Yeah. Sure, I'll take it.
Okay. By the way, I'm looking at DraftKings. I don't know if it's allowing us to make an alternate spread bet here.
It may not. One thing you can do though is closer is wait. Sometimes it doesn't activate it until closer to game time.
Okay. All right. Good to know. All right. So Otter likes both underdogs with LSU and USC in the points in the Women's Elite 8 games tonight. Is that it? You got anything?
Yep. Yeah, got one. A couple MLB games. Guardians. Not Guardians, but where are they on the road? The Plain A's. Red Sox. Minus the 1.5 on the road. In a run line against the A's.
Okay.
And then I'm going with Toronto against Houston. So Houston is got some issues. They dropped the first 4. Toronto's swinging the bats well. It's really early. 2 no names, but you get plus money, plus 20 with Toronto, who really, really played well down in Tampa for opening weekend.
All right, so Toronto. So those are run line plays, yeah?
No. Toronto is a money line.
Okay.
The Red Sox are. I'm sorry. Toronto is a money line
Yes.
plus 120, and then the other ones, Red Sox are minus 1.5 runs.
Okay, Toronto on the money line, Boston on the run line, and then LSU and USC with the points in the Elite Eight tonight. 4 plays from the Otter. We going to get to talk to you the rest of the week?
Yeah, I told Moose just check in with me, give you a little heads up, and I'll let you know if we're just sending pics or I'll come on. So
love it.
Yeah.
All right, Otter, we appreciate it, man. Have fun, drive safe. We'll check in.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, be well. That is Jimmy Otts. After further review, brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, with more than 30 offices across 11 different states. There's nobody better. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the product you use to weigh and measure, and so much of it is about efficiency. ISO 17025 accreditation. Their track system, which is track, records, assets, and calibrations, allows you 24/7, 365 access to all of your calibration certificates. Let's say you get audited. Not only do they have the date that device was calibrated, but down to the technician who calibrated, all available to you at your fingertip, 24/7, 365. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, great show today. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. However you get your podcast, just search After Further Review. And, of course, the AFR, LSU, and Saints YouTube channels. If you want video content, you can get it there as well. Thanks to Jeff Linder, who covers the Iowa Hawkeyes, Steffi Sorensen from the SEC Network, David Dellucci, Jimmy Ott just now as well. Use Paulie as well. We appreciate it as always. LSU and Iowa with a Sweet 16, with a Final Four appearance on the line. Tip-off coming up in 5 minutes from right now. We got Pels Suns tonight, LSU baseball against Southern. Jam-packed. We're back tomorrow recapping all of it. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.